I have to say, Harry, the adventure's getting mighty adventurous lately. All sorts of things happening. We're going to take a ride. We're going to take a ride over here. Alright. I'm going to sit in the back. Sit in the back seat. Terra Illuminata. The beauty of the divine mind dreamed a creation that can never be lonesome simply because it is always in conversation with itself. Even high in the mountains, you can come upon a field which through the centuries has grown intense with the personal elements of its own silent conversation. Every spring, absent flowers return again to their familiar sanctuary beneath huge persistent stones whose surfaces are always deepening ever so slightly with the restless engraving of wind and rain. Far away from the industry and interference of human hands, such a field has always been quietly at work, enriching the constellation of its own countenance. In traditional farming, the farmer never simply used the land. The farmer also lived among his fields. Sometimes he experienced a deeper affinity with his fields than with his neighbors. He was alert to the slightest change in their countenances. His heart anticipated the variations that each new season added. Eros is a divine force. It infuses all the earth. Yet too often in our culture, Eros is equated with lust and sexual greed. But it is a more profound and sacred force than this. Eros is the light of wisdom that awakens and guides the sensuous. It is the energy that illuminates the earth. Without it, the earth would be a bare, cold planet. For Eros is the soul of the earth. In the embrace of Eros, the earth becomes a Terra Illuminata. Amidst the vast expanse of fields and seas, the providence of Eros awakens and sustains the longing of the earth. This is the nerve source of all attraction, creativity, and procreation. Eros is the mother of life, the force that has brought us here. It constantly kindles in us the flame of beauty and the desire for the beautiful as a path towards growth and transformation, calling to each other. But the boundaries of time and glance and I love you are only aftershocks of the main inevitable boundary that creates Eros, the boundary of flesh and self between you and me. Anne Carson. The call of Eros is at the heart of the human person. Although each of us is fashioned in careful incompletion, we were created to long for each other. Huge differences may separate us, yet they are exactly what draw us to each other. It is as though, forged together, we form one presence. For each of us has half of a language that the other seeks. When we approach each other and become one, a new fluency comes alive. A lost world retrieves itself when our words build a new circle. A lost world retrieves itself when our words build a new circle. While the call to each other is exciting and intoxicating in its bond of attraction, it is exceptionally complex and tender, and handled indelicately can bring incredible pain. We can awaken in each other possibilities beyond our wildest dreams. The conversation of togetherness is a primal and indeed perennial conversation. Despite the thousands of years of human interaction, it all begins anew, as if for the first time, when two people fall in love. The force of their encounter makes a real clearance. Through the power of Eros, they discover the beauty in each other. Stretching across the distance towards each other, they begin to awaken all the primal echoes where nothing can be presumed but almost everything can be expected. Eros can be a hugely complex force that sometimes inclines towards gravity and darkness. Eros can pull life towards the edges and depths where death lurks. From ancient times, a kinship has been acknowledged between Eros and Thanatos, the death instinct. Surfing the tides of Eros, one comes to feel that the life force of joy could surge through all limitations, even death. Or indeed, there is such a homecoming in Eros when one succumbs to its force and abandons self in the sweet dying of complete release. The beauty of skin. We are made immortal by this kiss, by the contemplation of beauty. Ralph Waldo Emerson. The instinct, rhythm, and radiance of the human body come alive vividly when we make love. We slip down into a more ancient penumbral rhythm where the wisdom of the body claims its own grace, ease, and joy. The act of love is rich in symbolism and ambivalence. It arises on that temporary total threshold between solitude and intimacy, skin and soul, feeling and thought, memory and future. When it is a real expression of love, it can become an act of great beauty which brings celebration, wonder, delight, closeness, and shelter. The old notion of the soul being hidden somewhere deep within the body serves only to intensify the loneliness of the love act as the attempt of two solitudes to bridge their distance. However, when we understand that the body is in the soul, intimacy and union seem unavoidable, because the soul as the radiance of the body is already entwined with the lover.